Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share something with you that I haven't done before. So if you have been watching my videos for any amount of time now, you know that I do a lot of Squarespace tutorials and I share lots of thoughts about products that I enjoy and recommend. But my core, I'm a web designer and I haven't yet showcased any of my work or shown you what it's like for me behind the scenes and what I do for my clients. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a recent client launch that I had and going to go behind the scenes with you and show you a little bit about my process, how I work with my clients, and share the results of this really great project. If we haven't met yet and you're new to the channel, my name is Meg. I'm the founder of Floating Lotus Design, and I'm here to help you elevate your website and your business without the tug overwhelm. So I'm really excited to share this with you today, and it's being the first time I've shared the results of my design work on the channel. But I was lucky to be able to start this year off working with a really lovely client, a therapist from Pennsylvania, in building her first professional website for her. And it was a real pleasure. I have been very fortunate in my business so far that I have had just nothing but wonderful clients, and I've enjoyed working with them all. But this particular person, her name is Melissa, we just really clicked, and it was just been a wonderful experience, and I'm really thrilled to be able to share her project with you today. So before I kind of jump in and show you some images and kind of walk through the process, just kind of want to give you an idea of how I work with my clients. So when clients contact me, I do a discovery call with them and a consultation just to kind of give us the opportunity to meet each other and get to know each other a little bit. Because when you're making the investment in a website, you're also investing a lot of your time, your money, and you're kind of creating relationships. So you really want to make sure that you're working with somebody that you're going to be a good fit for. And that goes both ways for client designer and designer to client. So I always want to make sure that we have an opportunity to meet each other and talk and make sure that we're a good fit and everything's in good form before we kick off a project. So met with her several months ago. It was a great fit. She had been referred to me from a previous client. So that was wonderful as well. And we just had a lovely conversation and then we kicked off the project. So what follows that? I sent her all of the information, full contract, proposal, all of the great information. But first and foremost, I sent out a branding questionnaire to her. Now, I do a branding questionnaire with all of my clients, regardless of whether or not I'm creating their logo and color palettes and things like that for them, or if I'm just going to be working in their website. Because the branding questionnaire really gives me some more insight into them and their business and gives me some more insight to be able to help me through the creative process and make sure that I'm understanding their vision and being able to translate that. So there's a lot of some fun questions, some interesting questions. One thing that I don't do is ask them to give me websites that they like. A really great mentor of mine kind of helped me kind of see the ways of when you start to look at websites that other people like, you can kind of start to be influenced in. And what's really important to me when I'm designing for a client is that I'm making something that's very unique and special to them and speaks for them. And so I don't want to be too influenced by other designs or competitor designs. So when they're giving me their inspiration or things that they like or they want to bring forth, I ask them not to send websites. They work more from imagery and questions and Pinterest boards and things like that. And that gives me better insight into them and their business. And we go from there. And Melissa did an absolutely amazing job on her brand questionnaire. Reading that, I really got a sense of who she was, how important her business is to her, how important her work is to her, the causes that she's passionate about, who she is as a person as well, and things that she loves. So I really had a strong sense of who she was, and her imagery really backed that up. So I had a really great starting point to kind of build upon her website. But first, we needed to start with her logo and her color palette and her fonts. So we were doing everything from scratch. So I'm going to jump in and share with you some of the behind the scenes that I've written up in my case study, show you kind of the color palette, the process for creating the logo, and then I'll show you some of the web design. So I want to start walking you through this in the case study that I've written up on my website. So for every project I do a case study that walks through the entire process and the development through the project through to the end. So you can get all of the information you could possibly want. So I will link to this full case study down below in the description. So if you're interested in diving in and reading all about it or looking at any other case studies in my portfolio, you can do that here. But I've jumped forward here to the color palette. So as I mentioned before we came in here, started out with having Melissa fill out a fairly extensive but fun brand questionnaire. So along with the questionnaire, she gave me some of her photos along with a Pinterest inspiration board. I was able to pull together and get a real sense of her and things that she likes, the things that she doesn't like, and what really spoke to her. And from there, I started building the color palette. So some of the things that were very important to Melissa was that she wanted a website that was very professional, but yet modern, slightly unique to her. She didn't want her website to look like every other therapist website, and she wanted it to really evoke her. And she is a very warm person with a very calming personality, and she really wanted that to come through in her website. She wanted her website to look and feel like a very welcoming and calming space to her clients or potential clients, but also to give a sense of who she is as a person, because obviously when you're working with a therapist, that's a very personal relationship, and you really want to feel like you can get to know the person that you might potentially be hiring in that regard. So it was important to capture all of that. One of the major things that she invoked is her great love of nature. She loves the outdoors. She loves being near rivers and the lakes and the areas around where she lives. And it's very important to her. And actually, I'll scroll up here. You can see some of her photos were beautiful photos taken of her with this beautiful nature scene along a river or a lake in the background. And that really sparked my inspiration for building this color palette and the look and feel of her website as we moved forward. So if we come down here to this color palette, we came up with about 2 to 3 variations based on all the inspiration, and this is where we landed. So I really wanted to pull something together that evoked the colors that you'd find along a riverbank in nature or a lake. So we wanted, kind of this kind of soft, it's not really kind of a gray or an ivory, but it's not a stark white. It's kind of a nice soft color that's soothing, moving into kind of this, I think we came up with a color, it's called biscotti, but it's kind of like a very muted peach. So that can kind of be like you might see among some of the plant life and the sands that you'll find along riverbank and the stones. And then a nice muted green and moving into kind of these, kind of a periwinkle blue and a very, very dark blue. So these both kind of pulled in the different variations you'll find in the water as well as within the sky. So we wanted to kind of encompass a full landscape here. So this was kind of like, we call it like a muted neutral palette. But this is where we landed, and that really pulled from her inspiration and had that sophisticated yet calming, easy on the. So once we had the color palette nailed down, I moved on to creating her logo and selecting her fonts. So typically what I do is I try to nail it down between 2 different font pairing options, and I will build a font-based typographical logo using both font pairings to give them some options from which to choose. So again, she was looking for something that was modern, professional, but had a little bit something different to it, that just something a little bit special. So what we came up with was the main font for the logo, which I have down here, is called Quiche Sans. Display was used for the logo. And then this translated into her website. So for the headings, we used Quiche Sans, and Railway we chose for the body text and used that font there. But the display version has a little bit something extra here. You can see here in the S and the C, there's a little bit more of a flair to it, which is really great for a logo and for those large display fonts. So again, simple, modern, sophisticated. She really likes things kept very clean. We wanted to bring in a little bit of that nature element. So I used this simple line with a bit of a leaf detail here. That also achieved being able to kind of take up a little bit of white space here and not make it, so stark, kind of softens it a little bit, ties in that nature element. And then also through here, it still gives her some room. So if she wanted to use this for business cards or other print, if she wanted to add some more text saying like, her name and qualifications, things like that, it gives her some flexibility there. I also kind of aligned these and extended the length of the F and the P just to give some more visual interest to make it stand out. And I gave her two options. So this one you see is very simple and clean. This is the one that we're using on the website. And also gave her this very simple border element. This is just another option that she has that she can use in other applications. So perhaps business card, stationery, she does a brochure or anything like that. This just gives her some options that she can have at her disposal going forward so that she has that to work with as well. So don't always do that, but in this particular case, I felt like this was kind of warranted and I wanted to give her that option. But probably we were sticking with this straightforward, very clean, very distinct logo just based on the name alone in this beautiful modern font. So once we had that nailed down, we picked the logo was selected and the font was selected, we could move on to the website. And I'm going to move on over to the website so we can see that here. And again, I pulled from the inspiration of her photos and her desire for something that was clean, uncluttered. She didn't want to use a ton of imagery in terms of photos and things like that. In particular, she was very clear that she really didn't want to use a lot of stock photography. She had her professional photos and a few other photos that she had on hand, but she didn't really want to kind of rely on stock photography. She just kind of felt that that didn't really resonate with her. So we wanted to keep things clean and minimal. So as you'll see as we go through this is not an image-heavy website, and I think it really works well. This is not a huge site with like a e-commerce presence or a blog or a lot of things like that. It's a very simple, straightforward site. She's got a home page. She has a page about her therapy services, or about her page and a contact page, and that's pretty much it. That's all she needs. And so we really want to keep things uncluttered, clean, and consistent. So throughout the website, as I'll show, we kept things with that kind of ivory color in the background, kind of nice linen ivory color as the background, and the very darkest blue as the font type and these border treatments. So that's consistent throughout each page. Also consistent throughout each page is using her professional photos, and she has different ones for each page, but they're very consistent. So they're taken here along the river. This is her home page. As you see on her therapy page is another one with her sweet little dog here. On her about page again is another one with her dog, really get a nice sense of her personality. So we kind of kept some consistency there. Now, those are kind of the main images we used. And I wanted to keep this feeling, again, clean, easy to navigate, and moving through without a lot of clutter. So her header here, again, very clean, very bold and up front with her logo here. We have a button with a little bit of a hover effect to go to her client portal, so existing clients can go right in and schedule an appointment with her. And then we have this border treatment, which we would have had to have custom coded this, but I kid you not, literally while I was working on this project, Squarespace released an update and we're now able to do these border effects natively within Squarespace. So that was really great. So this gave this a little bit more of a presence and really makes it stand out. And it's a unique element you don't see very often. So this really spoke to her and to me. You land on this page, you do get a great presence, but it's not off-putting. It's not austere. It's just really like classic, kind of stands out, and you get a real sense of that you've landed in an important place. So moving through that, we kind of have a quick welcome. We talk about who she is and who she helps, and ability to schedule a free consultation. So that's, an accessibility. Again, this beautiful photo where you just get a real sense that this is a really kind, welcoming, relaxed human being that you might want to work with. And just moving through that kept it very simple. I included a very minimal, this is about a 1 pixel width border. Again, keep it clean, keep it professional looking, but not obtrusive. And my design really was inspired by these photos. So this visions of these trees and cattails and grasses and the water, I found very inspiring, and she really loved nature. So because we don't rely on photos a lot, I went with finding some of these line drawing, these kind of sketches that evoked, the nature theme, the water going through the woods and trees and things like that in a unique way, soft, but really elegant in a way, something you don't necessarily see very often, kind of continuing through that nature theme, and you'll see this used throughout the site. So we go in talking about her custom curated therapy services and added this nice little unique element of this hover effect. So if somebody comes over, we kind of bring in those other colors from the palette on this hover over each of these boxes. So it's a nice, simple, effective technique to make something stand out, but in a really clean and nice way. And moving through here, again, we're trying to keep things clean and uncluttered, so she has a variety of therapeutic approaches. So we used an accordion box to kind of be able to list those out here and can keep it closed and maintain kind of that minimalist look and keeping things clear, and then the ability to schedule a consultation or to move to her therapy service page to learn more about these therapeutic approaches she offers. And down here we have some of our testimonials or social proof from peers of hers and other professionals. Again, wanted to bring in this nice delicate kind of cattail element here and this graphical element. So kind of threw that in here again to break up some of that white space, but to keep that elegant nature theme going. And then down here below, we have an opportunity to meet Melissa. She's recorded a lovely welcome intro so you can get a sense of her. You can hear her voice, you can see her mannerisms, and you can get really a sense of who she is and what she's passionate about. And then here, this would lead us into her about page. And then we're anchored here again with this dark blue in her footer. Again, clean, simple, professional, modern, easy to navigate. So trying to keep this as uncluttered as possible. You've got some navigation here, as well as the ability to contact her or see her LinkedIn or Psychology Today profiles as well. So that's where we go from there. I'm going to move over to the therapy services page. So you'll see here again, we start with this beautiful photo, and we get to know a little bit more about her and more details about how she can support you. So in this, I chose to do a carousel of text blocks, bringing in that green color, although I lightened it a little bit so that the text would really pop, but people can scroll through and get a sense of the different things she specializes in. And then brought in this, again, this little graphical element in the background to kind of set this off. She also is able to help with so many different things that we wanted to, again, keep things clean and uncluttered, that I decided to use this slow scrolling text block here to allow people to see all the different things that she can help you with, but to have this in a way that is not taking up a lot of space. It's not too distracting. And if you hover over it, it'll stop, but we keep it slow and it's really not an obtrusive element at all. And it does break things up a little bit without being, again, distracting. And moving through here, you'll see incorporating some more of these line drawing elements of nature as we break up some of the text about the things that she can help you with, whether therapy is an option for you, how to take the first step to schedule with her, and then moving down into a nice FAQ page. Again, keeping it clean here. Again, all the pages, ivory, dark text, and then on this page, highlighting the green color from the palette as well to use for all of her different FAQs. And again, another option to contact her. And so again, now we'll move on to the About page. And this is where we really get a little bit more into her, knowing more about her personally and getting a little bit more of a sense of her. So have a nice welcome message with a beautiful underline. We're going to utilize the blue accent color here. Now, this great picture of her with her dog, you really get a sense of, what kind of person she is and, loves her dog, loves the animals in her life, and is a really welcoming human being in that regard. So you get a real sense of her personality just from that photo. And there's a bit about her and how she came to becoming a therapist and how, her career and how this was a career change for her. You get to know a lot about the things she's passionate about. And, we wanted to throw in a few of my favorite things. So a little bit of a vignette, if you will, a little gallery, kind of scrapbook, and a little bit of a feel here. So you can kind of get a sense of what she loves, strong coffee, swimming in the ocean, cycling, sunshine, nature. So you still get that beautiful nature theme. You see how much she loves her pets here, laying the chair in her office. And so you can see here, actually, that peach color that we got from the color palette, I did draw from the sands along the riverbeds and lakes, but also from her two beautiful pets as well, kind of their coloring as well, knowing that she loves them dearly. So we have a little bit of an homage to them in the color palette as well. And then again, just some of the pictures of places that she holds near and dear that she loves to be. So on the water and in the mountains. And again, incorporating some of these line elements. We just have that kind of nice little visual element here. You can get a bit of sense of her right away through this. And then moving on down to being able to highlight her credentials, and then another opportunity to, if you want to know more. So this can lead you back to the therapy services page, or again, another opportunity to schedule consultation. So everywhere along the way, we're directing them somewhere into the website where they can be helped. And again, we reuse this lovely border element here for the image of the cattails before moving into the footer. So you can see it's a simple, elegant site. It's not cluttered. It's not complicated. It serves its purpose in being able to give existing clients or potential clients great information about her business, who she is. You get a sense of her, but you feel like you're in a really, really great environment. So it's both calming and soothing, very professional, very modern. This is not kind of outdated, cold, old school style. So she's got a great sense of personality here, and her clients will know what they're getting when they come here. And so it makes it very easy for existing patients to go right in and book with her another appointment, and for other folks to really get a sense of who she is, and many opportunities along the way to schedule a free consultation with her. So that is Frame Psychotherapy's website and project in a nutshell. Again, this was a really fun project. I really enjoyed working on this. And that is Frame Psychotherapy's new website. Again, and what I'd love to highlight about this, among all the details we went through here, but what I love about this website and what I like the message come across here is that you don't have to have a website that has tons and tons of pages or tons of copy, tons of imagery. It doesn't have to be all things. And that is just a quick overview of Frame Psychotherapy's beautiful new website. I'm happy to say that Melissa was thrilled with the outcome. As she said, she had said that. And that is Frame Psychotherapy's beautiful new web. And that is a quick overview of Frame Psychotherapy's beautiful new website. I'm happy to say that she was thrilled with the results, really appreciated, and said that, I had been able to create something for her that really represented her, that I really got her. So that ability to bring her vision to life in her website, incredibly satisfying. And one thing I really like to highlight about this website is that websites don't have to have a ton of flash or effects or imagery or things like that to be effective or to evoke a mood or a feeling. This is a really good example in my mind of something that's clean and calm, yet professional, but also still you really do get a sense of this person and their business and what it might be like to interact with them. It's clean, it's uncluttered, but it has some unique elements that you don't see elsewhere. So this was just a really gratifying project to work on. It challenged me in some ways in doing some design and looking for different elements that I haven't done before. And it was great. And client is happy. And I'm thrilled to share it with the world and to have it be the first client project that I have shared with all of you here on the channel. So thanks for joining me for this first trip behind the scenes and showcase of a client project. Again, this was a wonderful client and a really fun project to work on. And again, the best thing is that she was thrilled with the outcome and really pleased with the results. And as a designer, that's all I want with any project that I work on, is for my client to be happy with the results and feel like I really got them and I'm representing them and their business well. So this was a fun one. I have included the link down below to the full case study write-up. So if that's something that interests you and you want to explore that a little further, or you want to check out some of my other case studies on my website, feel free to click on that link and check it out. And then you can learn a little bit more about me and all the different design services that I offer. And let me know down below in the comments if you like this and if you'd like me to do more client project reveals or behind the scenes of my design process in the future. I'd love to know. So let me know.